you have mentioned, and I also saw this on the website, that the Fae, the elementals, used to be a part of our world, and we used to be able to see them. Is that correct?
Yes. Actually, there's historical documentation of this. There's an actual chronicling of the history of the Fae going through the royal lines, especially in the Celtic countries, and the history of where they came from and how royalty became. That's a whole rabbit hole. We don't need to go down necessarily, but a royalty meant something completely different back then. So you had a crown and it signified your wisdom and your, what's the way to put it here? You're a protector of the elemental and human realms. So that classification of what a crown and royalty meant shifted over the years and got more and more solidified in the human realm and all that machinations that come with that. But it's actually, you can follow the lineages down, right down to present day, Lady Diana being one of the major carriers of those lines.
Oh my goodness. Okay, just to make sure I fully understand, you said that there's like historical documentation of this, of them being a part of our realm. So were they humans? It's okay. They were not humans.
No, they were fae beings that actually were in 3D.
Okay.
So, yeah, so the
And it,
realms were overlapping more at that time. It's maybe a
okay.
good way to say it. Yeah.
Okay, so human beings could see these fey beings. They were more physical rather than plasma beings, which we talked about, where they look translucent. To humans who can see them currently, they look translucent. They don't seem solid. But there was a time where there was an overlap with our realm, and we could actually see them and touch them.
Yes. And we mated with them. And that's how they came into our human bloodline.
Okay, so they were a lot bigger than what is presented on television. And I know we talked about this in our last conversation that they can take on different forms. They could look really small, they can make themselves really big. So I'm assuming that when they were walking beside us and we could actually see them, they were fairy beings. They weren't necessarily human beings, but again, they were physical and they we could mate with them and they were big enough.
They were in our realm. And these were called the Shining Ones or the Tuatha de Danann or the She, Sidhe, from the Celtic countries. Yes, so they were human sized or bigger and beautiful. If you think of Lord of the Rings and the elves in that movie, think of those beings.
Fascinating. And you mentioned Princess Diana being part of that lineage.
Yes,
How
she has actually several houses in her lineage that were Fey realm houses.
okay. And when they walked with us, right, when we could see them, when they were part of this realm, they were, like you said, the crown had a different significance back then, but they were often looked at as royalty. They were part of a royal lineage.
Yes, royal Fey lineage.
A royal Fey lineage. Okay. So none of them were really considered like just regular. You know how within our human structure we have people who are more of the aristocrats and then you have like regular people. It wasn't There wasn't that sort of division. It All the Fae beings were kind of part of a royal bloodline.
I would say, yeah, they're an aristocratic race, is maybe the way to put it.